right, guys, so now that that's thoroughly cleaned out, the trellis, the beds, and such, I'm gonna move to the front and tackle some weeding. Hey, so here is a spot in the front to the left of the door where I've been battling Bermuda grass real hard. I mean, it has been a serious fight with Bermuda grass. I'll throw a picture up on the screen. Actually, a lot of people use Bermuda grass as grass because it's so vigorous. But I definitely didn't want it in this bed, so I've layered this bed with a lot of cardboard when I first moved here. So it's a typical front border, all evergreens for the most. The Alberta spruce is on the left, as you can see, and to the right is an autolucan, or I think it's also called a cherry laurel. I might be mistaken. But yeah, it's time to get up here and, get this border cleaned up. That brown or reddish brown ball in the center right there near the front of the border, that's a fire chief arborvitae. So that gets about 3 times its size. Yep, so the tools I got are a hoe, a pointy-tipped hoe, a hand rake, and this tool right here is really neat. This I can use to pull weeds. I can use to plant holes for my bulbs. I can cut and divide perennials with. I mean, it's just an all-around excellent tool. I don't know about you, but with me, I think this is the opportune time of the year to pull weeds. They're small, they're still seedlings. Most haven't flowered yet, and if they have flowered, they hadn't put on seed yet. There's also mosquitoes buzzing in your ear and biting you. I mean, it's just a lot more pleasant time of the year, in my opinion, to pull weeds. So the weeds I have right now are mostly annual weeds, such as horseweed, spiny, sow thistle. So they're all annuals. Hairy bittercress, that's an annual. Funny thing about the hairy bittercress, when it finally puts on seed and you walk by it and you brush it, the seeds explode. So I wanted to get to these before they got to that point. Then there's dandelions, which are perennials. And then you got purple dead nettles, which are another annual weed. Now, all of these weeds are early flowering weeds, and they're food for pollinators. So listen, guys, the reason I'm working this slow is because it just snowed yesterday, okay? We got about 2 inches. And so the ground is still relatively cold. I mean, it is freezing. So I can barely feel my fingers right now, but I must press on, all right? I must press on. So as I was saying, the flowers of these annual weeds are perfect food for pollinators. So if I happen to have a more of a natural habitat or a natural landscape where I didn't care too much about the various weeds that were popping up, I would probably just let them all flower and become a food source for pollinators. But since this is the front garden, and I need it to be as presentable as possible, I had to go ahead and pull them. So when I hear that music, it gets me on my feet.